like we're speaking about like the Q1, Q2 special I keep talking about, right? It's kind of like where I mean it'll fuck with people or whatever, but long story short, I've spoken about how like yeah, just because it's not 9:30 in the morning, there's plenty of opportunity. It's just not the New York optimal trade entry. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah,
That's not the function being used. And like I said, if you guys get to a certain point where, you know, I understand this is not uh like super hard to do or whatever. It didn't go very far. But like the low is right here for me. And the reason why I'm kind of in between this like 243, 81, because the 729 all have the shared low, right?
mm-hmm,
So me playing around with that, you see, that's why I just took a partial. See that? Because I
mm-hmm.
can see right at the 81 high. Cool, cool, cool. You want to come fuck with me? I can see it. But also at the same time, I understand that like a lot of people will look at like this gap area down here or whatever. Let's see, let's look at it again. And everybody saw how like um we'll get to Asia in a moment, but long story short is outside of go back levels, this was and should be pretty easy for a lot of people. The one I happen to use is typically between that 5 and that 15, how I speak about a lot. So the first one, trade number 4 and 5, was coming right from this gap here. So do you see how like a lot of people did well with that run here, but this is what I was trying to tell everybody, right? I was going to say, listen, yeah, we can make the money there, but we need to also remember that how do we know it's fake? Look at the time. It went down until exactly what time? 9 o'clock. So when we speak about just generic Judas swing, I totally get where someone else might say, "Oh shit, the mitigation Judas is already downside. We should be going down forever." But we also have to remember that there's like a now here at the macro, right? Now you could do it with the fib. Obviously, like I just draw the shape all the time, where you see like classic Judas. And I spoke about like just transition points and directions. So when we speak about like the Asia Judas as a function, right? I understand it's a lot tougher when even the fake leg is that good, and even when I measured it, exactly what I said. Why should it be hard for somebody to make $1,000? Why? Especially if I've been preaching about risk management. Why? A lot of us over leverage at way less price swing. But if I'm like, yo, we can send two micros through a assumed range, right? And even if I said assumed, the ones that we're all used to trading intraday are what? I'm using it to go that way. If it fucks me, I'll take it with it. But if you downshift it, this is what I'm talking about. The whole night we do what? All we're doing is messing with the same dealing range. Two micros. This is fake. We spoke about the Judas swing as like a function, right? So I totally understand where even somebody thinking the mitigation block, right, might be down. But I spoke about not just 47 and watch. This is gonna start to annoy me in a second. So here, watch, ready? If you ever get like annoyed, again, I tell you guys all the time, if you ever get like anxious or riled up that like it's taking too long or you're coming into like a new open or whatever and you just don't like it, just take something, pay yourself. You're, I don't know what the word for it is. Precious probably knows because she's a therapist, but like, what's the word for it? Like your stress hormones just go down or whatever you call it, right? Like your dopamine, right? That's the word I'm looking for. The dopamine in your brain is not being fired off every 10 seconds. So as soon as you pay yourself, it feels really, really good, right? But the moment that we all do the, oh shit, I closed everything. And let's say, for example, that you did have higher targets or whatever. Cool. I have a question for you guys in about 1 second. But a big thing about this, um, does it feel tough to replace entries? What I mean by that, you ever hit the button at a spot you don't like and subconsciously you feel like you're stuck with it? Does that happen to you guys?
Yes.
And this is the thing though, right? We spoke about how like it's not just the 81 or 243 that helps with this overall. But speaking about just like the nature of counting, this is what I meant about 47 versus 53. And I know a lot of people are just getting used to a lot of these weird ones, right? Where we're coming into, yes, this one was down all night from that 23. However, 47, 48, 49. Me and RS have spoken about the 50 candle. The thing about your 50 candle, right? In high time frame, low time frame, however you would like to define it, your 50 is representative of that equilibrium, which then causes the visual to then consolidate slightly. But this is where breaking it down, understanding that that Judas function, when you start seeing that, again, that 9 to 10:30 window, or that 9 o'clock algorithm, if you want to call it that, 10 o'clock algorithm, 50 starts to set that move. Watch when I go back last week, I'll show you something very similar. It's almost like 50 is like that checker candle. Like you might want to check that. So I understand where we have some of these like narratives where the 47 might go and there's just a simple straight through pass, right? But I want you guys to remember that outside of just like um however we define it, like even outside of A and D, or if A is just X or A, you're still going to get slightly this Judas situation, however we define this. So I think that the hard part, especially when we're looking at like a run down that's this good, right? It's easy for people to get discouraged or this, that, and the third. But you also want to remember two things. We need somewhere to go. So like it's not just about this up run in general. And the reason why this one was actually not the hardest narrative, but in general, we've spoken about what we've done so far on the week and all the stuff that we finally were able to produce, right? Meaning, if we've been trying to get down here to this fucking gap for like literal almost 6 days, right? Yikes. We finally feel it. But really quick, um, was there any actual liquid on the downside that I could possibly aim at right now before we made one? Does that make sense to anybody? Is there anything actually down here? The only reason why I think even visually I speak about 90-degree angles, sharp angles, and how if there's no like real liquidity aimed at, right? I totally get where sure we could come down and it's fractal and whatever. I don't like that. But I like more instead when you narrate, even if we had ideas about more selling, right? That's why your 243 was helpful here. But the falling of Bitcoin, and let's see, I want to check it right now, actually. Yeah. But this is what I'm saying, right? If we were to get anywhere lower, and this is one of my targets down here, why the hell would they make my extra liquid this beautiful looking? And yeah, they're going to play around with liquidity for the retailers. And we have some liquidity up here to take. But my problem is, now it's 9 o'clock. Now watch. All this stuff downside is finally possible to get engaged. So thinking about currently, like, now watch, we don't like it, you can close it, right? Now the thing about that 9 o'clock candle, right? Whether it's a high or a low, I start to think about this in the morning, and you see how a lot of times I do pop right on it like 9 o'clock, and I start thinking about things. So right in this area, you know how sometimes you guys will be like, yo, I'm trying to get to a certain target, and let's say you're in sales, right? But the problem is we're still looking at, I had a great conversation last night with Raj about this, but like we're still looking at some of these runs that are completely telling you that sales are done, and then we're wondering if sales are done. Does that make sense? So looking at this sort of thing, right? I want you guys to be able to see stuff like this, where you're like, yo, hold on. And everybody tells me at first, like when they're trading, yo, this felt really fast. I didn't have no time to react. Like it just fucking took half my money back, and I was only able to barely get out alive and all this extra. You get what I'm saying, right? The thing is, we're on a 5 minute chart. So in reality, it makes me, and I talk about this all the time, but it makes me think about how quickly you guys are making decisions to press a button, whether it's to get in something or out of something, right? And so if this is like an hour and 20, right? And I'm talking like from, I mean, not just like the last down candle here, obviously it's a little less time. So, but literally about an hour, right? So, like, the thing is, I say this all the time real efficiency, like an hour, like 45 minutes, an hour, and all this shit like that, you might want to start thinking about what we're doing or not, right? Ask yourself, are we still sell side? Don't look at this up run and decide, oh, fuck, no, I'm good. We're just going to rebalance something. Uh-uh. No. No. Really quickly, I taught this back in the summer, right? Real rebalance of shit does not fucking look like this. This a whole move. If we're speaking about rebalance, right? You notice what rebalance kind of feels like when like a run comes, and I'm telling you guys, like, yo, you can't be scared of that. You can't be scared of that. You can't be scared of that. So when we're talking about like what a rebalance looks like versus what trending looks like, and I totally get where even if we spoke about like bigger arrays, right? It stops dead center in this gap. But my problem that I have, not to say it like that, but when it comes to context clues, right? I understand your dealing range is like one of the heaviest ones, right? And can anybody tell me why I got out of the trade? Why did I get out? I have a few ideas. But why would I possibly not want to keep that? Hmm.
We're on a new hour, so the a new algo can store it.
Excellent answer. Number two, I'm starting to notice a high was taken by a high. And not only do I have some liquid that's left over, I tell you guys all the time about logically thinking about buying or selling. So even if I had ideas about buying, ideas about selling, right? And I'd like to be creative. A lot of times I totally get where we spoke more about this last summer, where I'm like, listen, it's okay to like have double ideas or having to eliminate one side of the marketplace one idea at a time. So if you're saying, and I always talk about free association just as a writer. And I learned about that when I was in middle school. And the reason why it's supposed to help is like as a writer, yeah, you have a lot of fucking thoughts. I guarantee you your first one is probably not your best one. So like if you take your time and you're not judging yourself or like trying to grade everything you're doing right off the bat, just allow yourself to have free thoughts about what the fuck is going on or not. So whether I think that it's a sell side turtle suit from this high, I think we need to come down, and I have lows, cool, that might be logical to me. Or again, the same way that I have marked it recently with that 15 gap. Now, the first one, right? Took it to that high from this gap here, and I waited for a second and I scalped another three. But the problem is, right? The only reason why I thought about higher objectives in general, right? We spoke earlier about the shared prices that we have up here. So I understand that like I'm downshifted, but watch these. And you can tell me, right, how you feel about these typically, not just right now, but typically. Like, does it bother you that like, let's say super massive shared price down here? And we're gonna stamp this right now. So simple when we talk about buy above, sell below, that doesn't mean spam the shit every time it goes above or below. Oh my God, no. And that's my thing, right? Somebody else might be viewing it the first way I did it with the cells. Hey, Jay, I'm not sure this is a turtle to come down where I see lows, Asia's open, and everyone knows I love to aim at Asia. Now, we spoke about how for me, there wasn't really too much down here outside of just that low of the dealing range. That was the only thing I could really see. Now, that's the thing, right? I speak about narration versus entry. Now, I could be greedy and take it right now if I really wanted it. I don't really want it right now. I'd rather wait till after the open. But my problem is, right? I think when it comes to narrating, how many people feel like they're still coming in, whether it be again, not at a specific time, but you're still feeling like you're trading like this. Oh my God, we're sell side. Never mind, we're bullish. Oh my God, I need to look for sales. Never mind. Oh my God, I need to look for sales. Oh my God, I need to buy it. Is that still happening to you with all of these? Like every time it essentially moves, it's a different level for people. Sometimes, depending on how your self confidence is, I get different answers. But how do you feel? Like every swing doesn't bother you?
It definitely bothers me. I'm working on that.
No, the funny part, right? It's 908. I feel like when we're talking about like New York optimal trade entry style, right? Like I mean like when the real one starts to work and shit, right? This came from a 1 hour gap and the time was good. So I appreciate you guys for pointing out the 90-minute cycles, although I wasn't using it. You guys were like, oh, that's a cue for a reversal. There's hella liquidity down here. And you guys ran the fuck out of that. So I was really hyped on that yesterday. But I think like we talked about like the shape of these runs here. And even if it's like a X AMD day like this, you guys gotta trust your AMD information. So when this X is running the way it's supposed to, and people ask me like why I don't feel like I'm in danger all the fucking time, is because even with this A thing, right? Yeah, even your spike, if you were in Asia, is nowhere close to you. So you get to a point where, and we've spoken about just like um types of price action like this. Yes, it does feel like everything is far. But when you're seeing like shared low, is this still an uncomfortable visual that your dealing range kind of looks bearish, but Asia's open? And is it hard to kind of decide what you like more at the time? That falls under this category. So right now you got a shared low that's not broken yet. And when I've talked about these types of things, right? Whether you're looking to be aggressive or conservative, I sound different when I'm not smoking. But like, if you thought this was a turtle to come downward, right? Yes, I always talk about you needing verification for that. Someone else is going to talk to me about the order flow already being sell side. Someone else is going to really, really like this gap right here. So it's easy to have logical ideas about buying versus selling. But if we just can't break this motherfucking thing down here as an actual low, I guarantee you I'm probably not going to sell shit. Who's texting me? Oh, I see. So if you have ideas about selling, and this is why, like, I totally get where someone else is going to say, well, Jay, this is late for me. It's all fucking far now. Like, if it goes downward, I don't want to have to wait all the way to down here to get in. Why not? If this is the verification, if you watch it come down, and I'll be very specific about this, that if you're literally seeing it do some shit like this, where it's literally having trouble, like it breaks this all aggressively, then has trouble maybe with a stop run, and then boom, you start seeing it doing what you want it to do. There's no problem in being what I call fashionably late. I'm always fashionably late. Not to say the early bird can't get the worm, but you're not missing that much more money. You're not that much in a crazier spot to where it's, if you're thinking it's less risky or whatever. Yeah, but Jay, I'm higher up though. Yeah, but we could actually verify the thing with the dealing range. If you have ideas about buying, no different. If you're telling me, yo, I got ideas about buying, okay. I totally get we're down here. This was easy. We talked about gap, but I totally get where I have one more question for a bunch of you. Okay. Um, Overall, because I need the notes on this. Gonna type it out. If you see a setup that good looks really, really good to you, but let's say it's like 7:30 or 8:40 or 9:15. do you guys have like, does it bother you still if you see your setup kind of thing, but it's not after 9:30 or it's not 9:50, it's not 10 a.m.? Does it bother you?
I'm
And what
getting
do you
better
do
with
about
it.
it?
I'm getting better with it. At times it would because I feel like maybe I'm jumping the gun, but I noticed that if it is that true setup, you'll see the reactions and it'll literally show you that that move is going. So it's safe to get in.
And so that's why when I speak about like um actual function, right? We totally get like the chart does not have to be just New York OTE to fucking move. So when we have certain ideas about the narrative, you guys might just be like, oh shit, yo, I see that there's a gap here. This was clear liquidity. So you might not have been there at 6 in the morning. I don't need you to, but you have already noticed that the gap from that 15, coupled with I think might be the 30 as well. I want to check actually. Yeah, I was correct. That's exactly what I was looking at earlier. Yeah, 30. So you got a 15 gap coupled with the 30, whatever, whatever. But the problem is, right? We're narrating. So when I took the first one and I said, okay, no, it's not 9:30, but I'm having people who I'll get DMs about this very early. Sometimes it'd be like 5, 6 in the morning. You got to send me a message like, yo, I see a setup. It's not the time. I don't know if I want to trust it. But sometimes, and I understand like not to assume anybody's where they're at in their development, but I'm pretty sure 98% of you or 99.5% of you have no problem with 5 or 15 minute or short-term gaps. So when you're seeing this type of thing, it really is just a reaction. So I understand where even what I said before, yo, Jay, but I'm not in the gap though. It's so like, oh my God, I need to be lower. I can't get it right now. It's too late. Is it? Not even just from that 7 o'clock here. But even if we just like measured it, right? Let's say 6:45, 7 o'clock made a low. That wasn't bad. We actually ran from that 7 o'clock about almost 500. But even if you planned the actual liquidity, right? Which I tell you guys to just start to think about how much you want to make. I understand we're still thinking how much I'm about to lose. That mentality will start to get switched involuntarily over time. But you kind of have to push the needle on that slightly yourself a little bit. So this is what I'm talking about, where you might be, and again, you all have different personality styles. So I've talked, and this actually came from this is one of my newer, probably newer for me, how I'm describing this, like conservative versus aggressive. This is no more than 2 years ago, I think. But the reason why I kind of teach from this perspective now is again, you could be somebody that says, yo, Jay, fuck you talking about these buys, dog. I don't give a fuck about these buys. And it's not even about being right or wrong. But let's say you had ideas about selling and you really, really like this turtle. Okay. But you can also like decide how you want to engage it. If you're more of an aggressive personality and you really like to say, like, listen, like I need to be in that gap. I need to be above the high when it's sell side. I need to be underneath that fucking low when it's buy side. Like I'm not touching it if it's not in the exact spot I want. That's fine. You could be like that. But I also want you guys to have that little um there's not just one method of verification, but even in thinking about ideas right now, and even if someone says like because I just got a funny message like yeah, you're right. It's not like I don't want to say the setup sucks. It's not that bad of a setup. It's just that it's not very fun, I'll say, as we're going into like a 9:30. I understand exactly why you said that. But long story short, I think that we need to get to a point where again, if verification is the issue, okay, um, like I have a thing like I wrote down hear about like risk management, I'm not going to talk your ear off on it, obviously. I'm not going to be annoying about that today. But I think just one thing that I wanted to say about it is it comes down to creativity right now. And if we're speaking about like not just habits, but like where your entries are or where they come from, we speak a lot about how time verifies all.
Yeah.
Okay. But the problem is though, that when we're speaking about like a Q1 or a Q2 coming up this year, not just because of FOMC week, but just because you guys are catching a glimpse into like what that environment feels like. So it's not just the small basics that I've given you before about highs and lows not being taken, but we're talking about whole objectives being left open for days. We're talking about whole objectives getting this close to something and then saying, fuck you for even like a whole nother actual trade for some profits. And you're expecting, oh shit, what the fuck? Or you might have a moment like this where you might get like an optimal trade entry and you have to operate one objective at a time. Us who are super used to like a distribution cycle, you guys like are really good with that cycle. But the problem is, and I don't want to like completely scare anybody off from the Q1, Q2 idea. It's just that like you are going to start to feel really empowered by being able to narrate singular objectives. So that means the same way that I brought up like this buy side move not being 930. Cool. That's interesting. And even all the best stuff that we got into it, it's not always just down to Asia, but obviously Asia is like one of the greatest that we know. But whether you're somebody who depends on, and you know me, I like a good turtle. But like I said, I'd rather you guys decide or even practice like switching in between um both styles. When I talk about being conservative, conservative, or aggressive, it's not like a you pick one and you only do that. It's a balance. It's a yin yang, right? It's a balance. Same thing when we talk about how many people feel like that dopamine that you get from predicting something and being correct is hitting you way too hard that when you are incorrect, that you're starting to get like it makes you sick to your fucking stomach. If you're feeling like this, you need to back it up with the predicting part. Does this make any sense to anyone? If you're getting butterflies in your chest when you are wrong, because you're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, I need to be right, you need to have a healthy balance of reacting versus predicting. Two sides of the same coin speaking about being conservative versus aggressive. So that means if there's something on your screen, whether it's midnight or whether it's a liquidity, or if you're just kind of fishing around for what you want to use that day, I've mentioned that I'm not typically like the mechanical trader. All that means in fancy words is I just don't do the same fucking routine in order every day. But what I do in order every day, first thing is first is I think about my AMD. Number two, I'm always going to go right into where my liquid is, and I'm marking things that I find are relevant to myself. Whether it's yesterday's high lows, last week's high lows, I'm looking at session high lows. And when I say reacting versus predicting, I hate this. Fuck you, trading view. Now, this is what I was talking about yesterday, right? Now, everybody who was in session yesterday, we already talked about this one section, but we spoke about how, like, yes, I had an idea, like, hey, you know what? I do feel like we need to come in, and we're gonna watch this in a second, right? Really quickly, I talked about turtle ideas. So if you have turtle ideas, right? Just because we are above the midnight, took out this high, and I see that we have this and Asia's open. But again, I'm just kind of playing off the idea of the structure for me is the selling. But for buying, I'll say just because we're in that discount of the ranges, right? It does still make me kind of lean towards um more buying in general. I think we have no problem getting up to some of these levels, but it really just depends on how we play with the shared price. If we get back to it or get close to it or can't, or how we interact with that in general is basically what I'm trying to say. But keep your eyes on this while we're speaking about this right here, really quick. Okay. Long story short, it wasn't about the daily race for me here, but this is what I mean about liquid, right? So me marking this as a London low, yes, we saw how like this was made for you. So when I'm looking at this here, and I'm looking right at this 8:55, 9 o'clock area, the first thing that I wanted to do, because we knew that these needed to get engaged. This is all too ugly in terms of buy side liquidity. And you ever have a moment, and I do not want you guys to freak out, right? Where let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in which you predict. For me, it was, yo, we need to open. We are going to fuck up some small liquidity here. I think we need to go down, take this low, then blast up and take the highs, right? So for me, I used to get real mad about this, but I don't get mad about this anymore. And I don't want you to get mad about it either. But like, let's say you predicted, okay, 1, 2, oh shit, well, I didn't get the 3, which is my low taken first, then 4 go up. But I got like 1, 2, 4, 3, 5, which is totally fine for me. But when it comes to predicting or reacting here, I'm not going to be a slickhead and say, you know what? I got in right around here, right at that blast right there, right? All I wanted to do was scout to that low. That's all I wanted. I'm not going to ignore that. Hell no. And I understand where newer traders might have a moment where your nervous system kind of like you feel like you're having a heart attack. So your heart's beating real fast. You're trying to calm yourself down. And it's also hard to make a logical choice in your head. So you have to, when I say slow yourself the fuck down, right now it's going to feel like everything is tornado fast. In reality, it's really not. So me watching this, 35 pops in. How many people took sales early? And I'm not, it's not about me. If you're a conservative or aggressive personality, you see why I said that to you. It's totally up to your personality style. Earl is not Trevor. Kevin is even different than Precious, which is very interesting to me. Because I used to be like, yo, y'all don't trade together? Nope, we don't trade together. I was like, damn. But I think it's cool watching you guys collaborate more now, and especially being like, um, I've only had like one girlfriend who was kind of interested in trading for a little bit, but it was only because she was just around me, kind of like too much. That's pretty much it. Like she didn't really have like a love for the game. I'll put it that way. But it's really cool to see how like you guys have a, even if it's a slightly different style, right? You're like, yo, I understand. I like to run it this way. You'd like to run it this way. And I think that it's going to be a healthy balance, even in our Discord. Like, hey, is this a narrative where I should be more aggressive? Or do I feel like I should be more conservative? Do I feel like it's still bullish because of my dealing range? Did we only come down slightly? But this is what we talk about, not just aggressive in style, but aggressive in price action also. You guys are getting way better with this. And basically what I'm trying to say is when you're looking to verify a real move, right? You cannot get freaked out about every small candle. Not big move starts with insanely small candle. Okay. But us coming into like a 930 or whatever, right? How many people feel like your turtle soup is your move versus Asia being like low of the day or something? Feels like Jeopardy. Aha. So, thinking that we're sell side from the turtle, or thinking that Asia is the low of the day. Let's open up these ranges. He said if there is a 2022 turtle. Mm-mm-mm. Now this is fun. Watch this. Now we spoke about like PD arrays, right? So I totally get where. What did we speak about? Liquid. Now, if you mark that, right? Do you feel like that's supposed to be attacked quickly? Or do you feel like sell side is still your main focus here? And like I said, I want you guys to start being able to slow yourself down. When I tell you, you are not missing anything. Okay. So if you are somebody who hasn't had a chance to touch this thing yet, long story short, right? You see how we're playing with these low levels? We got close to it. And what did I speak about with selling, right? We can all sit there and verify whether it's underneath your dealing range, how you like it there, and finding some aggressiveness or volatility underneath that. Also deciding what you like, right? So if this was a turtle soup, you're thinking that's protected, you still want to take your time and verify it. Or if you're feeling like we can't break this fucking thing and we blast up like a madman, you're probably not going to be completely shell shocked by that information. It's 9:32. And how I'm so used to doing it, right? I get messages so quickly from you guys. It'd be 9:34, and I typically get 6 to 8 messages before even 9:40, 9:45. But it's typically not just like a question, but you guys would be like, yo, I've tried this thing like 3, 4 times. Like, what are we doing? I'd be like, it's been like 6 minutes. Like, can we wait a second? So do you see how like I totally get where the buy side liquidity is right here. You're at the bottom here. And again, just going from a basic perspective, I know not everybody knows about all the advanced stuff, but I kind of like the idea of this just being like a clean turtle. Just because I like the Asia always being open is a fun target for me. But anybody got any other targets on the buy side you think are available? Like, do you think this up here is a thing? Why or why not? And just start to deduce it one thing at a time, you know? Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Yikes! I can hear somebody losing some money right now.
I want to
How
see
many
us
people
split.
pressed it?
I want to see us take that PO3 liquidity up there and then possibly come down because we have PO3 liquidity at with Asia as well at the low.
Yeah.
243. But I want to clear this 81.
Now I'm glad you said that because they're all shared, and I understand where a lot of people don't like go through their dealing ranges like that, right? Where it might be the 81 might have an interesting perspective versus some of your other ones, right? So, what do you think about? I mean, we're coming into like void now, right? So 935, 934, see void. How many people think you should toss in a little sell? Should we get fucked up? What do you think? Yeah, let's see if we get fucked up. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see if we get fucked up. Now watch, right? Now, do you see how quickly when we talk about like verification, right? You guys ask me all the time, like, why would you want to put one in at a time versus throwing all 360 contracts in at once, right? And sometimes you'll say, like, oh shit, bro, it was going too fast. I couldn't get this at the third in. But the problem is, right? And I totally get where um watch, you might have a moment where you're like, okay, it's 935. We can understand it's going to retrace in a moment. Now, this is the thing. Let's go back. 35. Now, do you remember what I said earlier about like your high and low levels, right? When I talk about buy above, sell below, right? I talk about aggressive versus conservative here. Like we talked about. If you're somebody who's aggressive and you thought it was turtle, this might be somebody's gem right here. But if you're somebody like me, I like to verify things. So that means if you're feeling like this thing is now starting to get super fucking hard to break, right? And it might not just be in this exact moment, but if you're looking at it, this is 6 a.m. right here. Is this low the target take? We can never press a button unless we have a clear target. Is that the target? Why not? Let's try it. If we get fucked up, we'll close it. Let's see. Now, do you see how like right in this area here, this is where we get fucked up, right? It's 937. Let's watch how big this candle is. Damn. Let's see what they're saying about the Bitcoin. That was 938. We got some time for the next move. Bitcoin news. Oh my God. Okay, so what they're saying about this, right? And look, you see how if we're getting into early, it can still cook us, even if we're looking for like the first candle that jumps into the lower quadrant. And do you see why we talked earlier about like if you feel like you're getting stuck in an entry, your account is cooked. Now, luckily, we're playing around with this. But question to you, right? Let's go back on bigger range. Does it look visually like the low is still working as a low? Yes or no?
Yes.
Should I flip my shit?
This is why I struggle. Because I'm in buys, but I still see how we can get fucked up and then turn around. Because I just want to clear this 81 and then I'm not sure if they're gonna try to, do that little double turtle thing they do sometimes. Or if we just gonna stick in this range and run it up. But
Now
I saw the buy.
936, 937.
I was just gonna say that I'm counting the 35. I did just flip it. I was in sales, but I took all the profit because I noticed like the 35 and 36 is doing a LV type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was LV. But this is what I mean about like if you're not slowing yourself down, I see how you guys buy at 936, 937 have like 5, 6 attempts. And even if somebody were to look at, because we have two areas of short-term liquid, whether it's right above you versus we talk about reactions, right? The turtle up here or the turtle part that feels like this, right? Coming back to the low, that was easy. Number two, this right here, right on this EXT level. Now, this is like a huge EXT level for 729. Does it feel like when you're looking at like a 81 or now we're in the upper one now? But if we're not breaking these like aggressively, this was not the most aggressive. You see what I mean? We had an aggressive candle, but we never got that stop at even like the 81 high. So when people ask me all the time why that 243 or 81 is like cool to go back and forth to, because I love that perspective of when one is clearly visual for help. But this is why we talk a lot about time being first. But this is what I was going to say, right? Watch this. It's candles. It's not Tuesday, Wednesday. 9:40.
And this one of those situations where I tell you all the time where it feel like either I'm too early or too late because trying to figure out this verification of are we truly buy side, are we truly sell side when these swings are coming so aggressive both directions.
Yeah.
Like you
Now it's
literally got
9:42.
And then we
So
have to consider we are in what I think manipulation. So it
yes.
is going to do this type of function. So like if we want to hold, we got to wait to distribution.
now it's crazy because even looking at like the CD reaction right here, this is why we talk about aggressive versus conservative. Now, if anybody, I think one person has a sell from the top. They like the turtle idea. And let's see if you want to fuck with me again. Now, this up here, I'm gonna keep that right there. Now, is this more fuel to the fire to get lower? But this is right in that area where we gotta make sure we watch it. Now, 42, you can see it. 43. Now, this is interesting. This is interesting.
Yeah, when they play with the
Now, look at
range.
that. Look at all the share prices, right? Big move comes from share price. But that's why, like, 37, this is 43. Someone else might have their numbers on, but I'm just looking at, like, the actual clock. And I had this question asked me the other day, like, the numbers in terms of, like, adding, like, hour versus hour plus minute versus just using, like, the minutes. I don't have, like, a preference or whatever between them. They're both accurate depending on how you want to use it. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. Ha, ha. These are so funny to me. Now, it's not fun, but it's funny. Now, only reason why is thinking about the shared price. So, but we've talked about this before. Like these shared prices, when it's like a bunch of dealing ranges, they'll refer to this thing like 15 fucking times. That I do find you see what I mean?
Super
They
annoying.
refer to it like super amount of times. But this is where patience plays in. So it does look like, I mean, the more I stare at it, it does look like um it feels like this down here is slightly out of place in my opinion. And I feel like we need to come down and fuck with that. That's what it feels like to me. But this is where like this whole area here, they're gonna really show us that that's not the case. They gotta show us that's not the case. But it's almost like you said, the environment itself is already watching paint dry. Ooh, what do we think? You think it's the highest? That's a big low down there. And like I said, I think the low that we're speaking of, even like underneath me, was EXT low. It still looks bullish to you?
And we have 10 o'clock news too, so keep that in mind.
Oh, 10 o'clock news. But this is why even watching this, right? Yeah, these are available. And it's not just about where, it's just really about when. But in terms of like the order of operations, this is why you guys see me do this all the time. I just get really bored of watching this. Start doing other things. I made a indicator actually for this. It doesn't work very well. Like I could get the box on there, but I can't like move it. Like I can't customize it the way I could do it manually. So I just keep doing it manually. Whether it's there's a bunch of things that I can see here, but got it. Now, yeah, it's the highs. Yeah, it's the highs. You can see it.
Yeah, that's what I wanted, the highs. Even if it's just the highs didn't come down, but I definitely wanted those highs.
Now the thing is though, even like playing around in the area is like it's mostly just like the yeah, I was going to say it's the time. So oh shit, the glare. We gotta get some backwoods. But you see what I mean about like, and again, if you're in that environment, you gotta learn how to hit you with the partial even before you hit the thing. Because sometimes when that Q1 special, what I mean is they'll try to fuck with you, and then they'll be like, "Oh my God, never mind," and then fuck up the whole thing and go all the way down. So even right now, you see why we had to wait for a second? Cool, I don't mind taking a little L and then we take a W. But even how we speak about it, right? It's 9:47 right now. I'm not about to press the button every single fucking time it decides to do something. And I also like to verify things. So do you see how the moment something wasn't serving me, I went to my next concept, I seen it immediately. I'm like, oh, Thursday and Friday, sorry, Wednesday and Thursday had to do the job. So if you don't like it, you want to take your profits, cool. And like I said, fucking around with like, I know I'm on like the fucking around with the minis right now. But my whole point, right? Looking at like, gotta move the computer. I rolled a blunt and I lost it. I forgot what. Wait, I guess we're gonna have to roll another one. It's okay.
And so with these type of moves, these are always the ones for me, where like I'm seeing the buy, But every like those retracements were just so heavy for my account. Like we talking about 260 tick swings, you know,
Yeah, it's big.
260, 300 tick swings downward before we finally open up. And then now it's like, okay, where like with this, do I hold again or do I close? Do I wait for a retracement to actually catch the better part of this move because we just took this high?
Now, this is the thing, right? So if you're looking for the environment, what I liked was playing around with the dealing range. So when it comes to like OTE though, we talk about like what you're looking to do for it. Okay. Let's say, for example, you're watching it right here. We see how we did come off that. I'm talking it's a huge, huge level, right? So that's why we spoke earlier. And I asked you guys, I got two answers. You guys can do it for me again, but start to give me what you think is available. If you think there's something available, then you guys can hold what you like. But if you're telling me that you don't feel that none of this stuff is available, and like I said, it's a good little Beavers day. Like it's not even nothing to overly leverage anything today. You know what I mean? And so, especially anybody who came off of that Asia last night and you already have some stuff on your account, you should already be on B risk anyway, which is why I'm not going crazy on trading right now. So when you're looking at all the thousand tick moves down, thousand tick up, watch this. We're using a 729 low right now. We're looking at it, but is there some other liquid that you guys would like to use? You got 243 EQ coming up. You got this high right here, which is on the EQ. This one appears like a PM kind of singular high right there. Also, if I were to look at it, I think it's also a hold on, I can see it from here. Yeah. Genius. I can see that all the way from there. This is I can see the time, the 12:50. Just looking at like some open floats that are open. So just kind of seeing that like what do you guys think about the yesterday's New York? What do you think?
Okay, I think, hey everybody, I had to put my
Hello.
headphones in. I'm getting my coffee too. So I'm late to the party. But I thought yesterday went okay. I did better with not, I like with using the micros, especially in New York. Um,
Yeah,
I
that's
got,
big. That's big.
yeah, I think I've noticed like for myself, I seem to, at least on gold, I seem to do okay. And I don't know if it's me getting used to that range, like where how gold will usually do a 27 to a 9, kind of like ES, where they're just a little bit small ranges.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's kind of what I've been trying to test out with messing around with between the micros and the minis is trying to see small range like the big size or bigger range small size. So I've been
Yeah, definitely.
kind of playing around with that, but I did better. I just think especially because I'm not as skilled as you all in the New York session and I don't have the confidence. I do really need to size down for myself in
And
New
see, the thing
York.
is, it's
It
not even like
acts
skills.
different.
It's actually not even skill. What Arestas said, he was like, listen, like we're in just it's just the environment right now. How we're having like 100 tick retracements just off a
Oh,
1 to 3
yeah.
minute candle. It's not even just you. That's what I was saying earlier about like why I'm so on everybody's ass about like just sizing down in general. It's not them, right? So even if we're looking at some stuff down here like this, right? like we're talking about, they're giving you whole fucking trades before they give you the trade. Get what I mean? So I totally
That part.
understand where somebody might, same way I fucked it up earlier and then had to get it back, right? So the same reason why we're speaking about like if we're not using one liquid, we're using another. We talked about two perspectives that we gave, whether somebody had an idea um from the bind down here, and we talk about this gap, right? And we're just talking right now about like levels that we think we need to get to and why logically. But versus like you didn't really miss too much to be honest. This is a B day. You ain't miss much. But in terms of like the ranges that we're using, right? Nasdaq is kind of like a funny one when you learn, but the thing about the gold, let's get on the gold. So when it comes to like the tick values, right?
Yeah,
Let's
that might
see.
be
I
the
think
other thing too.
I really like the because I gotta give you I was talking you up a storm yesterday because I was really liking that trade that you did over here. I was actually really fucking with that one. So long story short, even just looking at this in general, right? So we could do boom, 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 and I want to change this to like 97. You guys hanging out in buys, yeah? Hopefully.
I haven't
Mm-mm-mm.
placed any. I just got to the chart, so I haven't put on any
Oh, you're
trades
good. It's just
this
the ones who are
morning.
here with me should have been hanging out in the buys. So
Yeah,
looking
you
at
guys are the
like,
early birds.
mm, so this is the thing, right? So like, um, just crazy difference really. So like 10 cents per tick, right? So like 70 ticks is like $7, right? But talking about full contracts, $10 a tick is a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
And
So
that
that means 70.
retracement, like
So
Artis was
70,
talking about,
70,
it hits hard.
70 ticks would be like 700. Makes sense?
Hmm.
So that's why when we're looking at like, uh let's see. I suck at math,
I want to ask something,
but
Jay, because the rest of the group
yeah,
might know, and I may not on the function piece.
yeah.
So when we're talking about those targets, is it kind of like how fins and tails will say lower time frame to attack higher time frame? Is it kind of like what happens in Asia that London will be using Asia targets, New York will be using London targets, or is the New York will use targets from both Asia and London? Like I'm trying to make sure I'm thinking about the targets from the prior session data the same way that you all do.
So to make
It's
it simple and easy, we'll do one at a time. It's one question, but it's six answers, so we'll do one at a time. When we're speaking about just like uh are we speaking about gold or Nasdaq? Let's do that first.
Oh, you'd pick. I'm not.
Oh, got it,
Um,
got it.
no
So I'll say
discrimination.
like just in general though, like if we're speaking about like gold, gold has no problem. Like Asia can attack Asia, New York can still do things like turtle and attack Asia. So when it comes to like um London or whatever, I totally get where other people might feel like it needs to do all this incredible stuff. Um, London just really has a tendency to really just fuck with like, um, it's not no singular like one session takes another one, I'll say. You got to be able to read the narrative and see what targets are actually available, to be honest. So if we don't have, like for example, all we had here was your Asia, um, yeah, pretty much like all Asia lows here. Your London was just a straight up accumulation cycle. So when your M comes through too far too fast, all it does is wreck all this stuff, and you're able to wreck a bunch of fucking liquidity from Asia. You get what I mean? So you just got to see what's available in liquidity at that time. So it's not really just Asia can
I
only
just,
attack a certain thing. But I'll say
yeah.
like in terms of gold, since we prioritize London or Asia and London, they have a tendency to get active and take because I aim pretty much just like at session liquidity or day liquidity. So um even still if we're looking at like New York right now, what's open and you guys could mess around with it if you want to. Like I said, it's not only just into Asia or whatever, but you just have to decide which one you like, whether it's buy or sell side liquid down here and versus
Well, I'll just leave it that. So I'm doing okay to look and just kind of see what is open. I'm trying to set my expectations because that's kind of where I think I go wrong is like saying, oh, we're going to just keep going all the way to the bottom. We're going to just keep going all the way to the top. And so that's helping me to just say, okay, if I'm really thinking about these targets, I don't really need to go way back into the past too much. I just kind of,
no. I
yeah,
mean,
just
this is
look
the
at
thing
this
though. It's
as
like this is what I'm
like the
talking
day
about. The targets we
before.
use be like right
Yeah.
here. This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It'd be right there. You don't gotta go. It's never far. You
Okay.
see how there's a high here and a low here? It's either one. I just literally make it that simple. It's either one. Same thing we just did for NASDAQ. We said, yo, it's either lows or we going up. And we decided, oh, hey, I feel like we're not going to take none of these lows. So we start taking some extra buys up here around that area. So yeah, we're still running. We're still running. I'm pretty sure majority of the gang is holding it. To make sure you guys are aware, right? So you have this thing up here. I can see it on my other screen here. So you can see how like and I'll use like another computer. I use iPad right here. So, but looking at like the high, right? We're just on 243. So, um, let's see the 81. Check it out. Yeah,
And
exactly.
and and that's that 10
Hmm.
o'clock news. So how do you, with something like that, like where we had the 10 o'clock news, how are you reading like how it's playing with the dealing range right now and direction?
Um, I don't have any thoughts on it. I mean, it's.
Okay.
I'll put it to you this way. Mm-mm-mm. Is there a spot on the downside that is open? Why or why not? That's my question to you.
Maybe some
So, do
gaps
you
to
see how
rebalance.
like okay? So, do you see how like we spoke about dealing range, right? Now we spoke about targeting above us that's possibly open that we like. Then all this little stuff here. We took all like the major good looking ones, but in terms of just like the news or whatever, it doesn't really yeah, I care less about it. I care less about it. Only because it feels like this 243 is still target. That's why.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm looking at that
um,
15-minute candle to make a fair value gap,
so I was gonna
possibly.
say if it is gonna annoy anybody though, like do not like go this straight like this and not take a partial though. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
make sure you're just paying yourself. If you're worried about whatever event that it is, whether we have the drop on it or not at 10:03, right? Um, the biggest thing is I always tell you guys, like I haven't even measured it yet, but we already understand this is close to you already know how much I'm about to say. It's very close to that amount. Even if you didn't get it from the very bottom. Most of you guys did. But remember, you're 243, like obviously not even including the wick on this one at all. But like your 243 is damn near 1,000 ticks, y'all. So not to say it like that, but when we say like, hey, like there's a gem when I talk about.
Absolute pharmacy, I can help you.
So is anyone? Oh shit, I'm at the pharmacy. Do, 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 do. 25. Are we thinking that's like the terminus for this swing? I think like coming back to like a like you said like a EQ. Um, and it's still not like a immediate abort mission though. Just because this is really good. I would say like, what's your intention now? Like anybody can answer, but um,
I'm just blabbing, but I know y'all were on before me, so don't let me take up all the time. But all I
mhm,
see, what are we on? We're on Nasdaq. All I
yeah.
see is there's a Sibi of 1 hour just sitting right there where we're coming up, and it looks like, I mean, I don't know if that's protected, that other, because I'm looking on the 1 hour. I kind of just start there because I know you'll go, oh, you're on there too. Yeah. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I got you hiding behind my screen. Yeah, at the top of yeah. I don't know if it'll go up there, but I have a Sibi on my screen for between where we are right now and the top up there. Um,
Come on, this one?
go up just a little bit. Is that a
Or talking
block
about this
right
one?
there? No, the one right. Yeah, the one you were on it right before that one. Not that one, but the one you were on right before that
This
one.
one?
Yeah.
So you're saying you're thinking it should stop it? Is that what you're saying?
Um, I don't know. I think the overall trend is to go down, but it filled that end log. So or was that an end
No,
dog?
really quickly, while you
Yeah.
said that, really quickly, when you're saying like you're thinking about the order flow, like you're thinking about what we've already done already, right?
Oh,
So really,
okay.
what I want you to do is like at this very moment, what are we doing?
We're about to complete that bar
No,
model
just very simple. What are we doing? Is it up or down?
up
No.
just to
So
fill that.
what I'm trying to get you to say out loud is just what's happening on my screen is we are going up. Just very general, no other data attached to that idea. That just that. The reason why I
Yeah.
always get you guys to just stop for a second and say, hold on. The thing that I talked about last night, and man, I am so fucking probably why I'm so tired. Yeah, I was on sessions till fucking I had one-on-ones till 12 last night. Like I didn't even stop doing that till 12:30. But um
You
I
got
didn't
to
even get to
get your
watch
rest.
fucking I didn't even watch One Piece last night. But long story short, what I'm trying to say is like we're still sometimes like coming to the chart and let's say like this is in motion, right? And it's not really just about like this current candle to the next one or whatever, but I'm saying that like we'll be looking dead at something that's beautiful looking and even have half of an idea of a target. And then we're looking at it like, oh no, fuck that. So it's what I'm saying is it's not just like about the gap or whatever, but I'm trying to get you guys to be able to and I know sometimes we'll get like fried by something like this, where yes, the candle itself looks clean, it looks stronger or aggressive or whatever. And even if you get ideas about selling,
Hmm. Those will trick you, won't they?
we actually can't go nowhere until they start making shit. So even if you had ideas, right? Let's say news or whatever, it's supposed to be what drops it or bothers you, or you guys just wondering how or when retracements come in the first place? Just start to mark lows as they make them. No, you don't gotta expect it every second, but this is a good little indication that they're telling you, hey, this kind of like a little spot I might want to come back to, fuck with, or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
when we spoke earlier about like um order flow, right? Um, and that's why like I like your perspective because yes, we have been like fucking sell side as fuck. But like you said, we passed a lot of these sell side objectives. The only thing that we really have underneath us that we talked about earlier, that I even have an idea about halfway, like this is down here and like this is down here. But that's why I was asking systematically about what you guys felt was available on the buy side. Man, it feels weird to fucking like I lost the blunt. I'm trying to smoke it, but I lost it. I lost the blunt. I rolled a blunt last night and I fucking lost it.
Listen, Jay, I worry about you because my grandfather, he's an old fisherman from Massachusetts, and he
Yeah.
smoked all his life. But he would fall asleep sometimes and have cigarette ashes on his chest. And I'd come in and I'd just get the cigarette and make sure it was out. I worry about somebody falling asleep with something like that lit. So just be careful.
Oh no, I hear you on that. Luckily, like weed doesn't actually make me sleepy, which is a good thing. Like
Okay, good.
it's just my ADHD that makes me like fucking overly me and you are the same. Me and you got 10,000 thoughts a minute. So like
Mhm.
even like right now, okay, I'm smoking now, so we're good. But
I can't
just
yet.
roll some
I'm
different
getting
weed
my
instead.
schoolwork
But
going with my kiddo this week, and I have a lot going on just with legal situations that I'm trying to work through, but I'm getting help with that. So
okay.
once I get
Yeah,
that done,
you told me about that
I'll
situation and I really hope that you come out victorious.
it's gonna be a while because police officers are not your friend. I don't think, and in a divorce situation, it gets real messy sometimes. So it's gonna take a little while to get it all worked out, but um,
I
like
like
I don't
these
have
lows for
any
gold, by the
fear.
way. I like these lows
That
for gold,
I
by the
got
way.
chopped up in it real late last night. That little bit of accumulation coming up towards like midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I got chopped up in that crap last night, so I just shut the
So
chart.
so really quick to explain this to you, I want to show you this. So when we're speaking about that Judas swing idea, and the reason why I'm always like, if you guys, it's kind of funny, right? Uh, if you think about this the most kindergarten as you can, it's going to start to help you, right? We talked a lot about like transition points, and even if right now I'm on New York Times, so it's still the same. So when we're talking about like the 7:30 to 9 o'clock, right? And then we're going to talk about London in just a moment. You guys can watch the Nasdaq for me because I want to watch this really quick. Watch the Nasdaq for me, right? If there's anything afloat, let me know and we'll go to it. But looking at this right here, right? I can see it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm looking at it with you.
This 7:30 to 9, and whether it's that window or it's that like 9 to 10:30, do you see how both of these offer like that little like low being made, and then we start to blast up like that? So I
It's a
understand where somebody
90
else is going
swoosh.
to start to, yeah, yeah. But the thing is, I'm trying to get you guys to find these lows, but it's in these time windows that it's just unbreakable. So when you're looking at it, in 9 times out of 10, it might not be every single day, but it's 9 times out of 10, you will find these highs and lows. And look, I'll show you one I really want you to see so you could get the idea. So when you guys collectively all look at ones like these, right? This is like well defined. So when you guys see some shit like this, You gotta hold that bitch till London. Does that make sense? You have to.
Uh,
You got
yeah.
to. You got to. But this is where I want to ask you a question, right? Not just you, but everybody. When you guys are trying to trade this Judas swing, are you guys really like are you hyper focused on every single time this bitch move the opposite direction? Like this?
I'll tell you what I've kind of been, practice myself, is waiting for that time window. And so over the past like week and a half or so, what I've been doing is I'll get in and check, about 6:30 so, and just start actually looking at the charts to see what it's doing.
Yeah.
Um, and then I've noticed that it really is between that, eight to 10, is when it's going to make that swing point. But that's the part you just said something to me that really helped. And what helped was that's protected. That you said these swing points are protected. And so
Yeah.
for me, that's where I've got to get that trust, is that once that swing point happens, that it's going to go, that it's going to not stop going that direction. Um, and so I've been marking that up in my charts and noticing that. So that I think I'm getting better with. Um,
Yeah.
but I do have to zoom out, and I am trying to be disciplined on myself about my contract sizes, my sizing, and what asset I'm trading to. Because I
Yeah.
think for me to make it worth my while on that gold, I just need to do a regular contract. But maybe I don't.
No,
And the other
no, but this is
part,
what I'm trying to say. Like we'll work on the risk on that, but this is the thing about trading whole contracts. You don't need
get
to do
yourself in a
it. Let's,
bind.
however we define it, you don't need to do it. You do not have to trade minis. You just don't. It's just not a point to do that. It's not. Um, us explaining how like any asset is just 10 micros is 1 minute. So like the difference between that is so drastic, it's like not even a joke. That's why
Yeah,
when we're saying like when you were up in your trade the other day, and I was saying like, yo, like yeah, it was a good trade that you took. It's just that like not to say it like that, but really think that like it was a small not I don't want to say small, but it wasn't the biggest range, but what you caught, you were up like $900 in that move. You get what I'm saying? That's a lot
yeah,
of money
no,
for it to go like a blip. So
I
imagine,
know.
all I'm saying is just imagine it to go the wrong way. It only take 2 minutes for that account is done. Is what I'm trying to say. If your PAs and
Did it to
stuff like that
myself.
are what, like it's 1,500 or 3,000 daily loss or whatever the case is, it don't. That's only two attempts. And that account is done. Is what I've been trying to say. It's not the fact that I don't want you guys to ball out and things like that. I want to see you make a million. But what I'm saying is like, let's say, for example, let's say you even want to get into this thing, right? And let's say it's just a smidge too early. And now this right here alone is trillions of dollars before you even make the move you want to make. Now we got to panic and like we're closing for a crazy loss, but it's like just the over leveraging in general makes this not possible to take, even if it's not that
Mm,
bad of a retracement in reality. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's not that
yeah,
you need crazy size to go and make it worth your while. No, not at all. Very, very like not even saying you need to catch this big of a range to make some real money either. I've mentioned that like these lows are a little target for the gold. That's going to be a thing. They're also going
mhm.
to let's look at this here. Um,
Jay, I gotta ask a real dumb question.
yeah,
I don't, when you were talking about taking partials, this is part of the other problem that, and this is true, just straight up trade mechanics, like just me not being a trader for years and knowing how to use these systems. But um, when you're talking about taking those partials, is there a way? Because I find myself fumbling around on these, 1 minute charts trying to do too much at once and place all of my take profits for if I'm working with a bunch of mini or micro contracts and I'm trying to place those, targets for 2 or 3 or 4, down the road. I'm messing up on that. And I just want to be able to manually close when it hits my target instead of trying to place those limit orders all. And I don't know how to do that. If I set a order and I put in 5 contracts, I don't know how to just close one without it closing the whole damn bracket. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong with that. Is there a way to do that on to
So
do you
I
have
use
to go?
shortcuts, so I don't use these buttons. But if you would even just in general just want to practice on your demo account, use these buttons. Like all you got to do is mess around with the thing to where,
Is it how I'm placing my order that I'm doing it wrong, or should I just not place an order for the amount of contracts that I want to take right away and just do individual one by one as I is that how you do it? Or if you want to say you want to get three, do you just
well, hold
real
on,
quick
give
hit
me one
three
second,
or
give me hold
okay,
on.
I'll be quiet.
To answer the first question that you asked, okay? Whether you're trying to put in 2 contracts or 50 and take them out individually, you can open as many or as little as you like. So when you're on you know how to put in an order, but if you're saying, yo, I want to put in 3 contracts and enter all at once, let's say you're in sales. To get out of them, you're just going to buy out. So that means you're going to either manually click the buy button, that 3 will go down to 2. You're just buying out of them. Okay. So me manually, since I don't use stop losses and things like that, I'm simply just going right in and closing my position. Whether you're using like I'm pretty sure your platform, whether you're on TradingView, you can still do like a just a regular, don't need limit orders, just manual buy and sell out. So same thing, vice versa. If you had 3 buys and you want to partial out, you want to keep one and take out 2, you're just going to buy out of 2 if you have sells. Or sorry, you have 3 buys, you're going to sell out of.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know how to buy out of it. You just buy out with a market.
That's it. It's just like, yes.
Okay,
Like,
okay, okay.
so especially where like, um, so I use Ninja Trader, but like even when you're on TradingView, it's the same thing though. So if you're buying or selling something, and let's say you're trying to partial out, you don't have to close them all. It's going to even ask you like, hey, uh, and this is the
I want to practice this, like you said. I'm gonna practice it on my paper
well,
account to get
I'm wondering
myself kind of used to pushing those buttons.
like when you're placing like your like limit orders, it's the same thing though. It's just that all it's doing is doing it automatically for you. So if you're saying, hey, I like a certain target or whatever, you're going to say limit order for like 1 contract though. You know what I mean? So you just have to look at the quantity.
Hmm.
Just look at the quantity. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm gonna practice that part. And then I wanted to tell you this last night, but
Yeah.
I was gonna start typing a book, and then I said I'll just try to talk to you about it. So real quick, this I hope I'm not taking up time for the group, but on the thing about my numbers, remember back
Yeah.
when we couldn't find the indicators with Ryan and the indicators disappeared for our numbers. So I found this other indicator, Mooster indicator, for doing the time and the levels when we didn't have any indicators. And so that's when I got started on that one. But there are so many different settings in there for the time at least. And so what I was trying to do was learn your port key and use those numbers. And so I was typing in the numbers in the port. I was trying to study your model on that. So I know my numbers are screwed up. So, but that's what I was trying to do. So I messed up because of this trading view, but I updated everything and I do want to get with you. Just tell me for one-on-one, and then maybe we can, that's something I want to just study with you, kind of just as a project, and we can, I want you to teach me that your import model with the numbers, and then I want to get my settings right. So I'm just trying to train my eye, and I know it's not helping me, so I just took them off of there. But anyway, we got
Mm-hmm.
the holidays coming up and everything. So will you just let me know when you're gonna have an hour or whatever, and I'll send you the PayPal and we can
So
get
really quick,
together.
let's hold
Yeah.
on. Give me 1 second. All right. So I
Okay.
heard you, but um, what my question to you is, yes, I can teach you the porky, but like I was actually going to ask you about that indicator because it does seem like there's way too many numbers on that thing. I've never seen that indicator before. I'm not sure how is that the thing that's how you got like five numbers on it per candle?
Yeah, yeah. It's a suite,
What's that thing called?
and
What's it called?
it's so I think it's Mooster. Um, I think he came. So Richard is another GB trader Discord group. And I just I don't like have any mentorship or anything there. I just go in there and try to see what they're doing with their gold box stuff and see if I understand their numbers. And that's when they had Lux is
Okay, so
his
real
name, I
quick, not
think.
to say it like
Yeah.
that, but the only thing that's going to cause you an issue is the way that I use this stuff. They're not using it the same way.
Yeah, I know. And that's part of the thing. I was like, okay, I know Jay's telling me my numbers aren't right on this. The settings on that thing, you can set it however you want. But that's why I said to tell me how to set that up for the port. So, um, but yeah, I don't know what we need to do now on the numbers thing. So maybe are these time and minutes, are these good? Are those right? Like I just never heard to trust those once we got them back, or once I don't know whatever happened.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Well,
Uh,
I had copies from whatever Ryan had put in the Discord, but I just didn't know if those were the right ones. Like of the time and minutes and the Dracula for the numbers that you're looking at, to be watching your numbers, your time and minutes. That's why I don't know if it's the right one or not, or if
No,
it's
I'm not
I
sure
was
what
in
you
that
mean
group
by right
too.
one.
I was in that group, and they only add the numbers. They don't count the way Jay does it, and then the way that Jay uses it's completely different.
That's
Um,
what I'm trying to say.
it,
I'm not sure like what she's referring to when she means like right or wrong. This is what I'm trying to clarify. But
oh, because okay, Jay, it's an indicator thing. So remember the indicators that Ryan wrote
no,
for the
I
G.
hear about that, but those work if we're asking if those work or not. But I'm not sure what you mean. I don't like these all work to do what I would need them to do, right? I'm
Yes.
not sure what you mean by your question. I'm trying to
What I'm trying to say is are those the right indicators? Because I remember you saying, "Oh, I'll try to rewrite the ones that I had before Ryan took off with the ones that he had put in there." I went out and found the Mooster ones because we didn't have any count Dracula or any time and minutes indicators at that time. So I got that, and I thought I started tinkering around with it because I wanted to try to see about GB time and just start training my eye for that. And then we I just never did get back with you to determine if the ones that I gave you that I had of what Ryan created were the right indicators, like they were the correct ones, and if I should be using those. Um, like those are the ones that you like. Can I go get those out of the Discord and you are using those, not the ones that I had from a long time ago before Ryan took off? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Maybe what I can do is just send you the ones that I have and you tell me, yeah,
No,
that's
it's
the
just
one
hold
and
on.
it'll
Give
work.
me a second. Give
Yeah.
me 1 second. Long
So
story short,
anyway,
the ones that we have in our Discord, the section is called helpful tools. Okay. So in that
okay.
section, just I'm even looking at it right now. Let me just make sure what's there is still there.
Um,
Mhm. And so you're saying like the time-based one specifically, the
okay, you
yeah,
put
there's
some
not
in
really
there in
like a
August.
yeah, there's not like a um right or wrong. There's not like a wrong indicator. So yeah, I redid that. That was like not even like 2 days after that was redone. So that's why I
Okay,
was a
well,
little
I got
confused what you're saying about Ryan, but and also I don't like Ryan.
confused.
Anyway,
All
to
right,
be
well,
clear
the
about
ones
this
that are
though,
in there on
anchored
August,
GB time, there's GB time in minutes, which is there. Daily Dracula is there also. So all the ones that are functional, the ones that we use, that I specifically use, are there. They're all there.
all right,
They're all
okay,
there.
okay.
So
All right,
that's
I'm
why
gonna
we're
get
not
those
using
then.
the whatever other thing or from another group. And I, not to try to read myself on where I get annoyed, but yeah, whatever outside stuff that we just don't use, like just get rid of that stuff.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
well, I'm glad I got that clarified. I was wondering about that myself. So, thank you. And hey, Alex, I don't think I've met you yet. Do you hang out over there too? Welcome to this group. This is cool crowd, cool kids.
Yeah, I don't really use that group. This is where it's at.
So far it does look like 250 or 25 758 still looks like target to me so far. Especially just for gold back levels, I'll say. In terms of like external stuff, um anybody still thinking that this is kind of like the only other one that's kind of like pure liquid on the top side. Um Again, still operating from that 243, 729 low. So until we even get halfway, um, kind of close to this area, it still looks like this top side is good. Precious just snapped with this gap idea. She was like, "Yeah, it's gonna make a gap," and it made a gap. That was hard. Good job. Excellent.
For real,
And
killed it.
so I would say in terms of also, oh, I was thinking about this. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There you go. Ah, I was thinking about that. And so the thing about ES versus like NQ, I looked at pretty much the same thing. So like this morning was EXT for me. So that same gap that I saw on NASDAQ, very similar, right? 15, 30-minute chart. And the same thing of like, again, I don't give a fuck about SMT, but I
I'm so glad
like
you say
relative
that for
strength.
me. That helps me so much because I don't know how long I got hung up on that shit, and I was just like, thank God. And
I
so
mean,
I
like
feel
it's
it makes me
like kind
feel
of
so much
cool.
better.
Like I used to use it, like I teach it still, but I'm just very vocal about how much I just don't care for that concept. Rather, um, it's just the idea of needing a second chart to analyze one chart every time you trade. That sounds crazy to me. Every now and then, obviously, if you have an idea about like Nasdaq versus ES, and even outside of even just thinking about just regular S&T, you might just say, you know what, damn, I saw buys easier on ES. So I'll just go back to Nasdaq and run Nasdaq. If you had an idea where Nasdaq looked kind of fishy and ES looked amazing, which has kind of been a thing recently, if I'm honest. If you guys go, and I mentioned this yesterday to 3-month students, they can see why I've been trading ES versus this is the Monday, right? Um, yeah, it's not like Nasdaq didn't go, but some of these runs that you're getting on the Nasdaq versus ES recently, especially like after FOMC week, dude, ES was so clean, it was ridiculous. Like this stuff was way cleaner than a Nasdaq. So we'll start to get to like as a group, not just 3 months, but we'll get to stuff about relative strength. We'll start talking more about because I need you guys to also start separating intention as we start going into a Q1, Q2. So the same way you guys are just used to this distribution kind of um price action and how it feels or whatever, we're going to need to start getting into order of operations. So, another key thing also is what am I thinking about? Oh, um, the script in order, right? So, really, real quick, Jim, because I'm thinking about it. Gotta get some backwards because I'm fucked up. I'm like, it's not very often that I run out of backwards. I only run out of backwards once a week, and it happened to be today, which is kind of crazy. So, um, I don't want to smoke a paper. I'm being an asshole right now. I want to smoke a blunt. Okay. So long story short, not just this. I wanted to make sure we knew this. Yes, this was great move last night, but this was fake move last night. Okay. Real Judas is not that. Even though this was amazing, it was clean, it was useful, it was sexy. This wasn't a long-term relationship. This was. What's a big clue as to why we would also think about that? It wasn't your goal back levels that had me particularly caring so much about that, but it was the time. So us that we speak about, right? When I say that like 7:30 to 9 o'clock, and we'll zoom in so I can show it to you, but um, and then that 9 to that 10:30, we talked about it for gold, but same thing for NASDAQ. Like even if I'm using um whether it be the rejection block or whether it be my midnight contraction, or whether it be like just a
Jay,
classic
can you
Judas way.
back up on that rejection block? Maybe clarify that for me because I hear you all sometimes say that, and I'm thinking I'm looking at strictly levels, but are you looking at the actual candle and the number on it? Maybe you can help me understand that part.
Rejection block is just a wick to wick rejection. You'll see it everywhere. So whether it's however I would like to find 2, 3, and 4. However I like to define it. And same thing with 6, 7, and 8. So me looking at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, rejection block, wick to wick structure. It cannot take out this top wick. Notice how this is 3. 3 is rejection block. it forms a unbreakable candle wick. So rejection block, and it's the same thing as imagine the wick is just a fair value gap. That's it. It trades back into it just like a fair value gap. See? So if I showed it to you on a lower time frame, you guys look at this and be like, yo, it's crappy PA. Oh my God, this is disgusting. And I'd be like, no, it's clean. It's clean. And it's just different than a turtle. Turtle is breaking up high and we come down. This is no break up high. It's almost cooler than the turtle. What's cooler than a turtle?
Yeah. Yeah,
So, but the thing
I
is,
get
what I
you
just showed
now.
you though, I showed you this version of it using, I don't need to add or count anything. That's a preference for myself. So if I feel like I want to use it somewhere else, if I feel like I need it, I come down here and I say, oh, guess what I can do? Same thing we speak about structure versus function, right? You can hang out on your 1 minute chart. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Rejection block. 3, 4. 4 makes a what? Wick. Unbreakable. What do you do by 7? Use it, and then we're downside. Rejection block. It's as simple as a wick. You trade away from it, and you rebalance it, and you go the opposite way. That's it. Takes 10 seconds.
That is like a fair value gap.
And it's just like I said, we're not gonna get into like a whole lecture about the numbers right now, but the big thing is just like looking at like some of these structures and things like that. Um, that's why I was also asking you earlier about like what you mean about the right indicator. Like they all do the same thing, depending on how I want to find a structure or a function. But I'm not using them all at once. I'm not using them all the time. I'm not caring about every number. It has nothing to do with algo pass. Like, yeah, I use all this shit way differently than everybody else. I realize that. And it's better if I'm being completely honest. That algo
Well,
pass
it's
shit
probably
sucks.
better for people like you and me that have 10 things going at once if you simplify it down. And I
And
agree.
so, and that's the thing. Even us speaking about like, well, we're on glow right now, but even speaking about the time is near, meaning that's 51. 41 plus 10 is 51. Got it. Okay. So I just keep track of the whatever by the like when I'm not using the indicator, I'm simply just looking at the clock. And the reason is like if I go to another chart and I don't want to watch it, I have to watch my watch. I gotta watch the clock. So it keeps me pretty much in line for things I need to do in terms of whether it be a bigger objective or whether I just want to find a smaller function or something, I can do that as well. But they took my liquid, how I told you guys that should have been taken. Cool. And then highs were taken because we are what? Because we're fucking bullish. That's what we do when we're bullish. So we spoke about same thing, Jane, right? Want to make sure you get this before we get done here. This, right? You were like, yo, it seemed kind of sell side, but I'm like, what did they be saying, right?
You gotta
Today's
zoom out.
price is not yesterday's price. Today's price is not yesterday's price. We were a sell side until we came into the low of that 243. And this right here, if we're just looking at what we're doing at the moment, I tell you guys all the time, just don't ignore what's on the screen. Just don't. I give a fuck about this. Do not ignore what's on the screen. So even if we had to verify that 940, 945, the moment we got up here, we're like, okay, cool. Cool. But I also
Mhm.
tell you guys, right? That's why we have time to talk about other things and joke around and do whatever else, right? All this is like, you guys can let me know, but you gotta get in and do fucking nothing. You gotta get in and do nothing. You find out what you need to aim at until you get to where you're going. There's nothing fucking to do really. It's not every second you gotta be feeling like, oh shit, well, I gotta get ready for it to fuck me over today. I gotta get ready to fuck me over again. No, you take that little entry how you guys did this morning, bro. What? Do your thing. That's all we had time to hang out. And so even if okay, so for example, right, cool, high, all right. If you want to cut it there, it's your choice. It's not a skill thing. It's your choice. It's not making somebody the worst trader because you cut it. It's a comfortability thing. If you made enough money, even here, you don't want it anymore. You felt you made enough, you're good to go. That's the name of the game. So it's not like every single time where you're saying, oh shit, 1044. Okay. You're not gonna as you're practicing, right? You guys have gotten way better with um not just freaking out at every down candle, but the same thing me and Jane talked about, right? This is the type of situation that we're speaking about with taking partials. So no, you don't close the whole fucking thing. Every time you guys do that, you're setting yourself up for fucking failure. I'm telling you. Because you're going to realize this bitch not done and you're going to try and get it again. Now you're spending all this area and when you were already hitting the W off that shit. Like you're getting out of a profitable position to try again. Stop that immediately.
Mhm.
Do not close that whole fucking thing and then try to get back in. Don't.
Yeah, finding that next best entry sucks.
It really does. And I'm not saying they don't give it to you sometimes. Like they'll give you some other stuff to work with. It's just that when you like a lot of us sometimes, and this is why I've been kind of I've had a lot of time to observe, but I'm trying to spend more days observing where there's not me involving myself in everything that you are doing. I need notes on how you are independently thinking. So I know there's a few times where yeah. There was a few days in here where even I was like, yo, majority of people had cells here. And I understand where even some stuff like this threw a few people off and they didn't close it at the very bottom. They kind of felt like they had to close it in this little tornado thing.
Monster Mash.
Thank you. But this is the small gem. I just want to make sure you guys, if we come out with nothing else today that I spoke about, right? Fuck whatever else I said. I need you guys to be able to open the fucking computer and see when buying and selling is done or not. And if you need to verify it, then verify it. Same way I talked about it today. Just verify shit. This is what I call verification for myself. If we are already in sales, you guys are like, yo, Jay, how are you done with that? Huh? You just decided to be done? Yes. Buy side gaps are working. What the fuck do you think I'm doing? I'm not staying to watch that fuck my shit up. We spoke about how if we're sell side shit work. Sell side PD arrays, sell side liquidities. Highs are protected. Now, no, they don't get back to my whole shit. But no, I don't think you want to give back 50% of your money either. So do not get frustrated and say, you know what? I'm gonna put on my big boy pants today and I'm gonna just try to hold everything. Fuck that. Do not ignore what's right on your fucking screen. And I'm telling you, it's not what we're doing right now, okay? It's not this is a super difference. People what I'm trying to tell you, right? There's nothing down here that's immediately fucking our shit up. You know what I'm saying? Someone else might say, yo, Jay, what about this? This is kind of like a turtle to me. So I kind of got scared. Yeah, but the problem is we already decided, oh shit, we verified what we're already doing. We verified it was buys. We verified it was dealing range highs that we got available. We have to choose to eliminate one side of marketplace. All the eliminating part, right? Took one L, then we took a W. That shouldn't have took anybody 3 to 5 attempts. No more than like 2 attempts. Third, if you really had to clean something up. But Do you see how even on the time thing here, right? A big thing I asked everybody earlier, and it's funny how I get like I'm asking you the question, but I already know the answer. So like again, just for people who didn't hear me earlier, I spoke about how like between like even like a 9:30 and like a 9:47, right? It's like 15, 16, 17 minutes. But in this thing, we're liable to hit the button like 14 fucking times. Not that many, but you get what I'm trying to say. Just need people to try to slow yourself down best you can. Slow yourself down. Yes, we do have some sell side liquid here. You do have dealing range stuff, but like we spoke about, it's your environment. So when they're starting to play around with stuff, right? Even with gold back levels, you can do it if you like, but it's typically more tied to like external liquidities, okay? Meaning like the Q1 special I'm talking about. When they kind of make a high, bait you towards it, and then just say fuck you and don't touch it. It's not typically the gold back levels that annoy us like that in the Q1. It's more just like these small retracements and things. But last idea that I had, gotta get ready for a session in a moment, but um really looking at this type of thing, right? I totally get where some people are coming from high time frame arrays, looking to transpose those down to the lower time frame. Um, you're looking also for validation of like not just like what you're doing, but let's say for example, when we do get like two fucking candles, now we're going fucking batshit. I when we talk about taking partials, right? That's supposed to be like a multi-purpose use. Like it's not just for when you make it to a target. Like you don't like some shit, partial. You want to go to the bathroom real quick, partial. Your girlfriend's being annoying, partial. Your mom calls, partial. Like do whatever you need to do, partial every fucking thing. And even if I'm only saying, right, you don't need a lot of size. 2, 3, 4 micros at the most, or whatever the case is. If you're feeling a little froggy, you want to throw in a little extra, that's still you can. And I'm still not going to say like anything over 4. I'm not going to consider that over leveraging. No, I consider that you being self-confident. So if you guys tell me like, yo, Jay, yeah, I had fucking 6 and I had 7, cool. I'm not going to bitch at you every time. But what I'm saying is, if we're still in the mode where like, um, you're telling me, yo, I'm liable to try this 67 times. Then no, there is no coming in with 2 and 3 minis every attempt. That account is done in literally 6 minutes. That's not an exaggeration.
Bro,
So,
today with
you
those
know what I
whips,
mean?
you could have an account done with 4 micros.
See, that's what
Like,
I'm saying. So we got to make sure that if we're speaking about like base entries or re-entries, the environments that we're playing with, check out the vibe of your environment. If you guys are seeing 100 tick retracements, like 70 tick retracements, something like that, that's when you guys are going to say, you know what? Hold on. I got to make sure that my participation is either, and this is very clear, okay? I need you to really hear me here. I talked about, again, being aggressive versus conservative. This right here, you guys are like, when I ask you about it, you guys are like, oh, nah, it's too late for me, nah. And I'll be like, what? I'm trying to tell you that this is the most accurate shit, and you guys are telling me it's too late. No, the fuck it's not. Your move's already starting. This is how you get in with no fucking drawdown. This is how you do that. If they're showing you, and again, this is going to feel, the more you practice, it'll feel slower to you. It might have felt fast today. You keep practicing, it's going to feel like it's time literally going so slow. Oh my God. So by the time they're already doing stuff like this, and you saw the first thing, all I had to do was change my perspective for myself. The moment I put on that fractal weekend, I said, oh, got it. The moment you, whatever clue that is for you, whatever it is, this order block, or whether it's the fair value gap, or whether it's I talk about the reactions. I need the fucking reactions. I need that. You participate here. So me and Trevor talked about this yesterday, where I know you guys are feeling like, yo, but like I need the bottom though. But I'm like, even ask you, I'm like, why? Because you feel safer here. What the problem is though, this is safer, even though it don't feel like it right now. You're thinking like, yo, this is farther up. It's unsafe to me. Instead of, hey, wait, my move's actually going and doing what I need to fucking do. What I talk about with being aggressive, that's the trade-off. Being conservative is clean. It's better. It's safe. It's less anxiety, all that. Being aggressive, yeah, you can get the best entry. Sure, you want to, but not to say it like that, right? I want you guys because we're going to get you good to be able to do this shit. But what I also need from you right now, you gotta low key get out your head about every single candle, even if you know the move, even if you know what you're about to do, you know it's bullish. Get out your head about every candle. Seriously, please. I'm just tired of hearing about it, honestly. So like you gotta really, really try. And I know I've said this a million times. I don't mind repeating myself, but it really does come down to time. I tell you guys all the time. How often are we doing 935? It's not very often. How often are we doing like a 940 or a 950? Or even like I talk about the times in general. So I personally used 47. I liked 47 today. This was my personal verification today. And every time it pissed me off, partial, partial. But the problem is, right? 10:55. I'm gonna make this very simple in about 2 minutes. All right. So real quick, we talked about number stuff. All right. The real thing about this, right, is the thing about the numbers. No, I don't give a fuck about all of them at once. I don't give a fuck about every one of them in every narrative. I don't give a fuck about half of them in general, to be honest. I care about pairing the structure or the function that I like. So, for example, if you're somebody who, and the reason why I want it anchored right now, right? You guys are thinking that it's like a different ball game because we're on like the GB time in minutes and we're on a 1 minute. That it's like different information or whatever the case is. No, the higher time frame stuff. This is really where skill comes in, right? So really being able to see some stuff like this. Yes, this whole day, no, we didn't move that much, my friend. Asia's, yes, we've been going insane. But some of the stuff that they showed you and with the numbers that are coming up, 23 is a natural support resistance number. This is already showing us it's hard to get to. So when this starts moving, I understand this experience thing right now when you guys feel like you need a lot of data to press a button safely. But real narration does not come from more information. It comes from finding what you need and saying, you know what? I simply think we don't need to get here, so I'm doing the other thing. Process of elimination at its simplest form. I'm not always coming in and trying to deduce things on a crazy level. And I totally get where somebody else might be distracted with whatever, but even if you want to say, yo, I mean, damn, this is 12 o'clock. Well, I know that my 29 is 12 o'clock every fucking Tuesday. Okay. Then fuck with the void. 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 39 and 40 is leading you into your breaker. Breaker does what? Reversal shit. Oh, you go up. 40, downside. So I'm saying all this to say, start being creative about what you decide to care about each day. You might just give a fuck about the liquidity void number and function, and all you need is that current direction. You might just sell this one and go to fuck to sleep. So even looking at this right now, right? You guys have ideas about like targeting and things like that. The PM session is gonna be really fun because we got 61, 62, 3, 4, and then 65 is afternoon. Okay. So let me go. Let me get ready for this
Thank
next
you,
one.
Jay. Thank you.
I'll make sure I get these uploaded and the rest of your one-on-ones uploaded from yesterday. So
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Glad to
you.
see everybody.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, everyone.
yes, good to hang out with you all.
See you
So
guys
Yeah.
later.
I will let you
See
know
ya.
when we have our next one, okay?
Thank you.
No
Bye.
problem.
Take care.
I'm blowing
Thank you.
kisses, everybody. Bye.
I'll see you later.